Virgo, I need to tell you something no one else will dare to say. Something you already feel deep inside but have been afraid to face. This Sunday is not an ordinary day. It is a turning point written in the stars, a moment where destiny reveals itself with undeniable clarity. The mask you've been wearing for years will fall. And for the first time, you will stand naked before the mirror of your own soul. I know that sounds terrifying. Because to be seen without armor, without performance, is to risk rejection. It is to risk discovering that what you've hidden might not be accepted. But Virgo, the truth is different. The part of you that you've buried is the very essence that will set you free. This is not a random message. This is not a coincidence. This is a prophecy. And prophecy does not arrive gently. It arrives like thunder, like a bell tolling at midnight. So, ask yourself, are you ready to meet the version of you that has always been waiting? Are you ready to stop carrying the weight of a mask that was never yours to wear? Because on this Sunday, the universe will not ask politely. It will tear down the illusions, and what remains will be pure, raw, real. And Virgo, when that moment comes, you will see that you were never powerless. You were never broken. The loneliness you carried was only the silence before a new symphony. This is the unavoidable prophecy, and it has your name on it. Welcome to Mindfulness Meditation, where we uncover the hidden messages of the stars and the whispers of the soul. If these words stir something inside you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so we can continue bringing you guidance, light, and the truths the world often hides. Because your journey, Virgo, is not just a story. It is destiny unfolding. 1. Virgo and the price of strength. There comes a moment in life when the applause fades, when the stage lights dim, and all that remains is silence. No audience. No recognition. No one to validate the weight you've carried on your shoulders. Virgo, this is that moment. Not of failure, but of revelation. The mirror stands before you, and for the first time, you are called to meet the self that has always lived beneath the masks. Behind every act of service, every responsibility you've taken on, every victory you've earned, there has been a heartbeat, fragile, tired, and yearning. You've been the light for so many others, yet in doing so, you've walked away from your own flame. And here, in this sacred silence, the question rises like a dagger to the soul. How long has it been since someone asked you if you were truly okay? This question is not cruelty. It is a key. It unlocks the fortress you've built around your heart. 4 decades, you've been praised for your strength, admired for your discipline, even envied for your endurance. But walls built of achievement and duty, no matter how noble, eventually become prisons. They keep the world out, but they also keep you from the tenderness your spirit has been starving for. History has shown us countless figures who bore the crown of responsibility until it crushed them. Emperors who carried empires, mothers who carried generations, leaders who carried nations. They stood tall, but inside, many were fractured. Virgo, you know this story well. It echoes in your body, in the tension you never release, in the tears you wipe away before anyone can see. And yet, this is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of liberation. The loneliness you feel is not punishment. It is initiation. The exhaustion is not failure. It is the body's final cry, demanding that you return home to yourself. You see, the universe has a way of orchestrating breakdowns not to destroy us, but to break us open. To strip away the armor until what remains is the essence of who we truly are, raw, vulnerable, magnificent. And here is the truth most people will never dare to speak. Strength without softness is an illusion. What makes you powerful is not the fortress of perfection you've built, but the willingness to let it crumble. To stand in the rubble and say, yes, I am human. Yes, I need love. Yes, I deserve rest. That is the revolution your soul has been waiting for. Virgo, imagine this, a life where you no longer need to prove yourself. Where you are not measured by your output, but by the fullness of your being. Where you are not the caretaker of everyone else's storms, but the safe harbor for your own. This is not weakness. This is sovereignty. For what is a kingdom worth if the king or queen is never at peace within its walls? And so, this chapter is not about abandoning responsibility. It is about rewriting your covenant with life. Instead of being the unshakable pillar for everyone else, you are called to become the fertile ground where your own soul can rest and rise. To let someone in. To admit you're not invincible. To allow tenderness, intimacy, and love to reach you in the places you've kept hidden. Because the greatest tragedy is not that others have failed to see you. It's that you've failed to let yourself be seen. And now, the veil is lifting. The world will not collapse if you release the burden. The crown will not fall if you lay it down for a while. In fact, your reign will become truer, more radiant, more eternal, because it will no longer be built on exhaustion, but on authenticity. So hear this prophecy: the walls will crack, the silence will speak, the fortress will fall. And when it does, you will not be left in ruin. You will be found. Not as the tireless provider, not as the flawless achiever, but as the beloved soul you've always been. Loved, not for what you give, but for who you are. That, Virgo, is the freedom you have longed for, and it is waiting for you now. 2. Virgo and the soul's unmasking. Virgo, there comes a moment in life when the soul simply cannot pretend anymore. No matter how carefully you've worn the mask, no matter how diligently you've played your role, the truth beneath begins to rise like a tide that refuses to be held back. And when that tide comes, it does not ask for permission. It floods the shore of your life, washing away illusions, exposing everything you once thought you could keep hidden. For you, Virgo, this season is not about maintaining appearances or holding together what is already cracking. It is about surrendering to the collapse. Because only in collapse does the soul breathe. Only in being stripped bare do you finally discover the indestructible core of who you are. That's the paradox. What feels like loss is actually the very beginning of freedom. And yes, it will hurt. When you stop shining for others, when you no longer give endlessly to those who take without return, some people will walk away. The ones who stayed because of your usefulness will vanish into the shadows. This pain will cut deep, but it is also a revelation. It is life showing you the line between those who love you for your essence and those who were merely feeding on your light. History has shown us time and again, empires fall, masks are torn away, and what remains is truth. That truth may look small at first, fragile even, but it is the seed of something eternal. Let us speak plainly. Virgo, born in the early days of your sign, you've worn your mask in love. You have tried to be perfect, fearing abandonment if you revealed your flaws. Now the mask crumbles, and yes, you may feel the terror of rejection. But rejection is not the end, it is the filter that reveals who deserves to walk beside you unconditionally. Virgo, born in the middle of the sign, you have sacrificed yourself at the altar of work. You've given and given, convinced that proving your worth required endless labor, constant sacrifice. But what happens when exhaustion swallows you whole? The mask of productivity shatters, and you realize your value was never measured in hours or effort. It has always been written in your being. And for you, Virgo, born at the end of the season, the quiet dreamers, you've buried your personal aspirations in order to lift others up. You have convinced yourself that your worth is in service, that your dreams can wait, that helping others matters more than answering your own calling. But the time has come when silence feels like betrayal to your soul. The buried dream will not stay underground. It pushes upward, like green shoots breaking through the stone. For all Virgos, this is the same truth, the collapse of the false self. The ego built on approval, on applause, on the validation of others. This scaffolding is being dismantled, piece by piece. It is frightening, yes, to feel naked before the world, to realize that those you thought would stay may leave. But what remains is pure, unshakable. Think of the phoenix, the bird of fire and myth. It does not fear its own burning. It steps into the flame willingly, because it knows that beyond the ash lies renewal. Your burning is not punishment, it is prophecy. The universe has chosen this exact time, this exact cycle, to call you back to yourself. I believe, Virgo, that this is not destruction. This is sacred death, and sacred death is always followed by resurrection. When the false self dies, the true self breathes for the first time. And in that breath, you will know a freedom that cannot be taken away. You will no longer bend your light to please others. You will no longer barter your soul for approval. You will no longer betray your dreams in the name of duty. Yes, people may leave. Yes, some doors will close. But what if I told you that what remains after the collapse will be your true kingdom? A kingdom built not on performance but on authenticity. A kingdom where you are sovereign, not servant. This is the soul's unmasking. Painful, inevitable, liberating. And when it is done, Virgo, you will not be the same. You will be greater. Because you will finally be yourself, whole, unhidden, eternal. 3. Virgo and the sacred shock of rebirth. There are seasons in a soul's life when destiny knocks, not gently, but like an earthquake, splitting the ground beneath your feet. Virgo, that time is now. The structures you've built, your roles, your responsibilities, the masks of perfection, begin to crack. What once kept you safe now feels like a prison collapsing in slow motion. And though fear surges through your veins, this collapse is not your undoing. It is your initiation. For so long, you have carried the burden of light as though it were a duty. You have been the healer, the caretaker, the one who shows up with precision and discipline when everyone else falters. Your strength has been admired, your loyalty unquestioned, your integrity unmatched. Yet somewhere inside, an unspoken fatigue has been gathering like storm clouds. A whisper repeating, "Who am I when I am no longer the strong one?" This Sunday does not come to punish you. It comes to reveal what has always been true. Light is not your obligation, it is your birthright. You were never meant to earn love by being flawless. You were never meant to prove your worth through endless self-sacrifice. The sun does not rise each morning because it owes the world light. It rises because shining is its nature. And Virgo, so it is with you. But here is the paradox of transformation. Before the rebirth comes the tremor. You may feel panic as the roles you once clung to fall away. You may feel stripped bare without your armor of perfection. In the quiet, you may even mistake this collapse for loss. But what you are truly losing is only the weight of falsehood. What you are truly shedding is the suffocating belief that love must be earned. Think of history's great turning points. Empires toppled, cities burned, only for greater civilizations to rise from the ashes. The fire of destruction was never the end. It was the clearing of space for something truer, freer, more enduring. In the same way, this quake inside you is not an annihilation but a rebirth. The self you discover in the rubble, the vulnerable, imperfect, tender self, is not your weakness. It is the most magnetic, human, irresistible part of you. For the first time, you will allow yourself to be loved not because you are strong, but because you are real. Not because you hold everything together, but because you dare to fall apart. This shift is radical. It is terrifying. And yet, it is the very liberation your soul has been craving for decades. The truth is, perfection has never moved hearts. Walls of achievement may inspire admiration, but it is the cracks, the trembling voice, the unguarded tear, that is what makes others see you, know you, love you. When you finally drop the mask, you don't become less. You become infinitely more. More human. More radiant. More alive. Virgo, this is your sacred shock. The quake that destroys is the same quake that awakens. You will panic when the script dissolves, when the roles vanish, when the applause is gone. But stay. Stay in the silence. Stay in the trembling. Stay until you meet the you that has been waiting all along. The tender, imperfect, frightened, yet profoundly beautiful soul who has always deserved love. Do not mistake fragility for failure. Fragility is the opening. Weakness is not your enemy. It is the doorway through which intimacy and true connection finally enter. You have spent a lifetime being the fortress. Now, let yourself be the garden. Let yourself be seen. Let yourself be loved. The prophecy is clear. The shock will come, and the old Virgo will tremble. But in that trembling, the rebirth begins. You will emerge not as the untouchable figure who never falters, but as the luminous being who dares to live in truth. And that, Virgo, is the greatest power of all. Because love that requires perfection is not love, it is performance. And you are finished performing. This Sunday, you step into the stage of your own soul. No audience. No applause. Just the sacred silence in which you finally realize, you don't need to be flawless to be loved. You only need to be you. 4. Virgo and the return of the inner child. Virgo, there is a part of you that has been waiting in silence for far too long. Not the polished adult who knows how to perform, who knows how to sacrifice, who bends and shapes themselves to keep the peace. No, the one who waits is the child. The child who once longed to be loved without conditions, without duty, without having to carry the weight of everyone else's expectations. That child still lives within you, hidden beneath years of striving, surviving, and proving. And this moment, this very season, is the hour of their return. Do not mistake this return for weakness. It is not regression, not a slip back into immaturity. It is the sacred reunion of your soul with its truest essence. Because the child in you does not care about the applause. The child does not tally sacrifices or measure worth through usefulness. The child only wants love, and love in its purest form is freedom, the freedom to simply be. This Sunday, Virgo, something within you stirs. The mask you've worn, dutiful, dependable, endlessly giving, begins to loosen. You may feel fear in that loosening, the fear that without the mask, you will be left behind. But what if the opposite is true? What if by removing it, you finally encounter the only kind of love that matters? The love that sees you as enough, even when you do nothing to earn it. Look back through history. Every revolution, every rebirth of a people, begins in silence, in waiting. Seeds buried in the earth endure darkness before breaking open into green. Caterpillars endure the suffocating cocoon before wings emerge. And so it is with your loneliness, Virgo. The solitude you've carried these past months is not punishment, it is preparation. A cocoon wrapped around your spirit so that the wings of your true self could form unseen. This loneliness has taught you something essential. You cannot keep betraying yourself to keep others comfortable. You cannot keep silencing your inner child for the sake of harmony. For harmony that demands self-betrayal is not peace, it is bondage. And your soul was never born for bondage. The child in you does not apologize for existing. The child does not earn love by shrinking or by working twice as hard as everyone else. The child simply reaches out their hand, expecting to be held. Virgo, the return of your inner child is not a call to naivety, but a call to truth. It is a call to remember what you knew before the world convinced you to forget, that love is not a transaction, that your worth does not need a reason, that to be alive is already sacred. And yes, this return will hurt, because in claiming this child, you will discover how many people only valued the mask. Some will walk away when you no longer give them the light they demanded. But this is not tragedy, it is revelation. For those who remain will be the ones who see you, not your performance. The cocoon of solitude is splitting open now. And when you step out, Virgo, you will not step as the version of yourself who once thought love had to be earned. You will step as the butterfly, radiant and unapologetic, carrying the wisdom of all you have endured. You will know that love is never about proving. It is about being. And being, finally, is enough. I believe, Virgo, that your loneliness has been the labor pains of rebirth. You are not emerging as someone new, you are returning to someone eternal, the child within who was always whole. And as you meet them again, hand in hand with yourself, you will understand what liberation feels like. It feels like breathing without fear. It feels like walking into love without conditions. It feels like finally, after years of carrying the world, you can set it down and be carried by the truth of your own soul. This is not escape. This is homecoming. The return of the inner child is the return of your freedom. And when the cocoon falls away, Virgo, the world will see you not as the servant of others' needs, but as the sovereign of your own being, radiant, unbound, and wholly alive. 5. Virgo and the threshold of rebirth. There are turning points in history when an empire crumbles, when a civilization is forced to shed its old skin, and though the world trembles, what is born afterward is stronger, clearer, more alive. Virgo, your soul is standing at such a threshold. This is not an ordinary chapter. It is the culmination of years of hidden preparation, the quiet rehearsals of your courage, the silent prayers you whispered when no one was listening. Now the curtain rises, not for the audience, but for you. For so long, you have lived as if life were a performance. You carried yourself with discipline, offered your strength to others, and built your reputation on being reliable, steady, indispensable. People admired you because you seemed unshakable. But deep inside, the weight of perfection has been pressing against your ribcage, demanding air. And now, the cracks have begun to appear. Not as signs of weakness, but as signs of birth. This is the paradox. The breaking is also the becoming. Like a seed splitting open beneath the earth, you may feel pain, confusion, even fear. Old relationships may dissolve, bonds that once defined you may fall apart, and the roles you wore like armor will no longer fit. Yet this unraveling is not your destruction, it is the sacred clearing of space. Space for something real, something tender, something that will nourish you rather than drain you. You see, the universe is not asking you to shine brighter through effort. It is asking you to be truer through honesty. The smallest acts of authenticity, saying no when you mean no, admitting when you are tired, showing your real feelings instead of burying them, these are not insignificant. They are the bricks upon which your new life will stand. They are the foundation of a kingdom where love is no longer conditional, but natural. Throughout history, revolutions were not sparked by grand declarations alone, but by small acts of truth. A single voice refusing to lie. A single hand planting a seed of change. A single heart daring to say, I cannot go on this way. Virgo, your personal revolution begins the same. Not with a battle to prove yourself, but with the quiet courage to be yourself. Yes, some relationships will fall away. Those who only loved you for your strength will not know how to hold your vulnerability. Those who depended on your constant giving may resent your boundaries. But let them go. Because what remains, what rises from the ashes, will be the kind of connections your soul has always longed for. Relationships where you are seen, not for your usefulness, but for your essence. Where your imperfection is not a burden, but a bridge. Where your heart is not consumed, but nourished. This is the journey ahead, a shedding of what is false, a claiming of what is real. It will not be painless. Like any birth, it comes with contractions, with letting go, with the breaking of what can no longer be sustained. But the promise that awaits you on the other side is freedom. Freedom to rest, freedom to feel, freedom to love without condition. And let us be clear, this rebirth is not optional. It is destiny. You cannot cling to the old shell without suffocating. You cannot keep playing the role of the strong one without losing your own song. The universe will keep shaking the ground beneath you until you finally surrender. Not to despair, but to truth. Virgo, the years of silent preparation have led here. The trembling you feel is the gate opening. The endings that surround you are not curses, but blessings in disguise. And as you walk forward, each step of honesty will lay the path beneath your feet. You do not need to rush. You do not need to prove. You only need to trust that authenticity will carry you further than perfection ever did. So breathe. Let the old crumble. Let the masks fall. Let the relationships that cannot bear your truth dissolve. And know this, you are not walking into emptiness. You are walking into the fullness of yourself. This is not the end. It is the sacred beginning your soul has been waiting for. Virgo, this moment is not an accident, not a coincidence. It is destiny unfolding in real time, and once it arrives, there will be no going back. The mask you have worn for so long will finally fall, the child inside of you will return, and the light you have been hiding will shine without apology. This Sunday is not just a date on the calendar, it is the threshold of your rebirth. Yes, the process will sting. Relationships that were built on illusions may fade. The silence you once feared may echo more loudly than before. But what feels like loss is only the shedding of a skin that was never truly yours. The ache is not a punishment, it is the labor of the soul, the sacred pain of a new life being born inside you. And on the other side of this pain is freedom, a freedom you have longed for but never dared to claim. The truth, Virgo, is simple. You were never meant to live exhausted under the weight of other people's expectations. You were not born to carry their fears, their happiness, their endless needs. You were born to shine because shining is your nature, not your obligation. The sun does not ask permission to rise, and neither should you. This is your awakening, your chance to finally live as the unfiltered, unmasked, fully human version of yourself. But remember this, the universe can open the door, yet only you can walk through it. The choice will always be yours. You can cling to the comfort of old patterns, or you can step into the unknown and meet the version of yourself who has been waiting all along. It is in your hands now, and no one else can make this decision for you. And as you take this step, know that you are not alone. The community around you, those who recognize their own journey in your story, are walking beside you. Share in the comments what part of this message touched your heart most, because your words may be the key someone else needs to hear. Subscribe, join us, and stay connected, for this is only the beginning of a larger transformation. Virgo, this is not coincidence. This is destiny. And destiny has chosen you.